Right, hello, hopefully it's working, because I did a stream about 2 days ago where I couldn't actually stream because every time I tried to start it, YouTube kept going, oh, there's an error with the streaming. But I think this one's working fine. Right, interesting thing, I had my first sort of self-done COVID test thing today and it came up negative, so I didn't get a false positive on it at least. Hopefully it's not a false negative, but and live chat's broken again, so let me do pop-out chat. But what I was going to say, which is annoying today, is today was going to be a day of waiting in for a parcel, and it was delayed, so I now have to wait in for the same parcel again tomorrow. At least I think by midday they sent me an email saying it's not coming today, rather than doing the thing of like you wait till 5 p.m. and then it's not coming. But that was my new rifle. And when I say new rifle, I mean an old obsolete caliber rifle in not great condition. But, you know, I think I said to people sort of a few weeks ago to a month ago after payday, I was tempted to buy another obsolete caliber rifle, and because some of them are quite cheap, I thought, yeah, I'll get one that's a bit, you know, dirty and rusty and, you know, clean it up, and then it can be a video of an old gun being cleaned up. So hello everybody coming on. Oh, before I forget, let me just put slow mode on, because if I don't put slow mode on, it will absolutely go to shit in the comments of people spamming it, so I'll need to do that now. So just bear with me one moment. So I think you do it by clicking edit, live chat, enable slow mode. There we go. And that's that done. So there we go. That's slow mode on. So it means if you've got a proper question, don't ask, can I ask a question? Just ask the question. Hopefully you'll get time to answer it. It means if you wanted to come on the stream and just spam it, you're not going to be able to do that now, hopefully. So that's that. What I might do is just view it in the window that's slightly delayed, but where I don't have to have the pop-out chat, the live streaming control thing. So hello everybody joining. Yeah, the thing is, CM, so chocolate muffin, unless you want me just to call you CM. At least they said to me it was delayed, because I've had it with loads of couriers before where they basically, I guess, know partway through the day they're not going to get the parcel to you, but they still pretend they are. The ones that really piss me off are the ones that say, oh, we came but you weren't in, when they didn't even come because the card's not been through the door and you've been waiting in all day. But although it means I have to change what I'm doing tomorrow, it does at least mean that, you know, if they do get it to me tomorrow, I've got it. I don't actually know, Telly, without counting them up, how many NBC suits I have. Look on my YouTube videos for every different NBC suit I've done a video on, and add all of those up. Obviously, don't add duplicates up. And then, potentially, I don't have all of those anymore, but that'll give you a good idea. When I get to 100,000 subscribers, I will, yes, do a 100,000 subscribers special, but I'm not at 100,000 subscribers yet. I don't have a WZ93, so I can't tell you how good it is. From the people I've talked to who have it, they say it's pretty nice. I think there might be a ballistic test on it on YouTube, unless that's the older WZ sort of Kevlar helmet. But hello to everybody joining as well. Hello, Rich. Hello, Joshua. So, hello, Lena. Hello. Yeah, so a lot of members are all on, all mods are all on at once. Yeah, it's a reprint. It's not the original, but it's the one Miltech, whoever it is, does of the Strictarn shirt. Yeah, it is Miltech, isn't it? Yeah. But I just got it because it's one of my favourite old retro camo patterns. Any idea why there was a jerry can in your basement from World War II? That's a cool thing to find. Oh, cool. Do you like it, Brighto? But did you say yours hasn't got any armour in? Is it just a cover? But I like the ECBA a lot. So Brighto says to the person who asked that WZ93 have liner problems, so it might be a good helmet in terms of protection, but I guess, yeah, if it's got an uncomfortable liner, that's not very good. Oh, and for the people who are on the members stream last night, I have got that GPU in the PC now, so I've now got 2 GPUs running in the PC, and yeah, the simple thing I thought of doing worked, as in unscrew the back of the power supply, pull the power supply out the back, put the cable in, then just shove the cables back in with the power supply. So that worked fine, and I can mine with both of the GPUs at once. I'm actually mining while I'm doing the stream because it doesn't seem to affect it and make it lag out, so might as well generate some money while I'm doing the stream through crypto mining. Right, Aragon Dark, it was a good enough day, I guess, other than the fact that a parcel I was going to wait in for all day, I was told that it's not coming today. So I have to wait, for tomorrow. Yeah, which one did you get, Brighto? Did you say MTP, was it in the end? All right, good. That's good, Joshua. I've not been offered my second jab yet. Rick, do you know which model it is? Because there's so many different pistol crossbows now that call themselves Cobra. I don't know which one. I mean, I don't know why anybody would want to buy an SS armband, except for maybe reenactors. But, I don't think sensible people would buy that. In general, I mean, obviously, it depends, because there obviously is some that are better than others, burner account. But if you mean, like, grade A, mil-spec, sort of surplus boots, I've generally liked them a lot more than, like, civilian boots, at least until you go quite high into the price range. Because at least with, like, military surplus boots, they're kind of tried and tested designs, as opposed to, let's see if we can get some idiot to pay for this and, like, buy it. I've been all right, thank you, Martha. Not too bad. Like I said, it had to do one of those self-COVID tests today, because hopefully I'm back to work soon, and that was a negative at least. It was a bit of a weird process doing all that self-test. Like, first you fill the vial up with this, then you do this, then you put the swab up your nose, then you put the swab in the liquid, then you dip the liquid on the thing. But, it all worked in the end, and it said I was negative. And they're the ones that give you a false positive, apparently, quite a lot. So maybe I didn't stick it up my nose far enough, I don't know. But the thing is, that's a bit different, Drunk Russian, isn't it? If it's one actually from history, because when it's like that, I can understand why it's in a collection or a museum. But yeah, it's just the idea that somebody was buying like reproduction SS uniforms seems a bit weird. I definitely will get it, Joshua. I don't know when it will be, but it will still be a month or two until it's technically like out of the time they should have given it me. That's good, Brighto, that you've got it. All right. Yeah. Good luck with your exams, Brighto, when you do those, obviously. And hello, OK9 to you in the Czech Republic. So you still call it the Czech Republic, do you, rather than Czechia? Because that's the thing where people always argue about that. All right, ex-medical analyst, I'm glad you find the stuff interesting. As I said, it's just stuff I find personally interesting. I like doing videos on. And as you can see, it then starts building clutter behind you, because you're like, oh, this is a good price on eBay. I'll just buy this. Oh, I'm running out of space to store everything. But yeah, tomorrow, if I'm ending up waiting in for the parcel, as long as I don't have to, do anything that will stop me being able to get to the door in time when the postman or like the courier knocks and runs, I'll definitely start tidying some stuff up to work out what I can sell again, like, just to clear some space. All right. So, Rick, I'm assuming that Springfield's in the US, is it? So I think it's one of the £80, like, from what I got from that, it's one of the £80 pistol crossbows, isn't it? And it's just Cobra's one of the brand names they stick on them. Well, you'll know when I have a bunker, because there'll be a video on it. I haven't got the bunker until I've got the bunker. That's a simple way of putting it. There'll be a very short period when I eventually buy one before I've visited it, and the legal papers go through. Well, Telly Chase, I could do a video on that. But out of all the helmets, my favourite helmet's probably the Virtus, just because it's the best ballistically rated helmet I've got. Out of all of the body armors, the ECBA, even though it's not the best protective, just because it's lightweight and comfortable. So I'll actually use the ECBA, well, the heavy ones, I'd sort of think, oh, that's too heavy, I'm not putting that on. The gas masks, the CT12, I was going to say FM12, then still the CT12. Right, Drunk Russian, weirdly, a lot of it comes down to how much land they come with, as in, because of the fact you're buying an X bit of MOD property. It depends, do they come with the bare minimum bit of land with them? Or are they in an area where it comes with quite a bit of land and that land is valuable? So in theory, that sometimes they go as cheap as £10,000 or maybe even less, but there are some that go to £50,000. Holy Roman Empire, I wouldn't get a deactivated one. But in theory, I think G98s are now on the UK obsolete caliber list. However, I wouldn't want to pay silly money for it. But I've got an Austrian Mannlicher coming in the post. And no, that's not some weird fetish item. It's a Steyr Mannlicher, whatever the model is. But, like the Austrian rifle from the late 1800s in World War I. So I've got one of those coming, but that's not actually a G98, because that was a German one. It's the Austro-Hungarian one I've got coming, but yeah, if G98 start eventually turning up a lot on the surplus market in non-deactivated but obsolete caliber form, I might get one. But other than that, no. I get you, OK9. That makes sense. I guess it's a bit like Britain versus the UK, is it? That's a much better way of putting it, actually. Because obviously the UK, the United Kingdom's made up of Northern Ireland, but not the Republic of Ireland. England, Scotland, unless they vote to leave, and obviously Scotland won't be in the United Kingdom, and Wales. But obviously then you've got things like the Isle of Wight and stuff like that in there, and I won't bother going through all of those. But if you were on about Great Britain, then you'd have to include stuff like the Isle of Man and the Republic of Ireland. So, yeah, that makes a lot more sense, OK9, that you put it like that. Like, yeah, one of them refers to a country, one of them refers to, like, a union of countries or a group of countries. Well, I don't know, PC Digital, download what gas masks you've got at the moment. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's an M95 Holy Roman Empire. Let me look up the full name for it, and I'll just link the Wikipedia. Hang on. Skya Mannlicher M1896, I think, is the one. I think it's this one, but there's a couple of very similar ones, aren't there, that are all... Hang on, I'm on the wrong chat window, that's why. I do have working ones burner account. You've not watched the videos on them. Right, because this is a live stream, I'm not meant to handle one. But that one there, that you can see there when the webcam turns around, that Schmidt-Rubin's fully working. It's an obsolete caliber, which means under UK law, it doesn't actually get classed as a firearm. Well, it does if you're actively shooting it, but otherwise it's not. But the point is of that anyway, that I do, and as of tomorrow, if it is delivered, I'll have 3 non-deactivated firearms. But you know, the point with obsolete calibers is that you can buy them without any sort of license because the government thinks you'd struggle to get ammunition for it. Therefore, nobody's going to really shoot anybody with them. But yeah, or it might be, sorry, the M. So that's the Mannlicher M1886, which is the one that replaced it, because I thought when I looked earlier, there was like a bigger article on it when I looked. The M1895. Yeah, so I can't remember if the one I've got coming is the M1895 or the like M1888, but they're pretty similar, especially if you're not planning on shooting them. Worldwide Arms CM, because I think it was JJ on one of the streams pointed out that Worldwide Arms had some what's it in Schmidt-Rubin's again, whereas D&B had sold out of them. Completely depends on what gun it is, Telly Chase. You can get things like deactivated AKs sometimes for less than £100 if you spot one that's really beaten up. But most of the time, deactivated AKs will be in a £200 to £400 region. Legally, in the UK, from any basically Militaria dealer. In theory, you could buy them on eBay, but I don't think eBay lets you sell bayonets on eBay. I can try and do one at 8 PM for you tomorrow, Brighto. The only issue is because I don't know if the courier I've got coming tomorrow for the gun, if they're one that goes into the late evening, but I assume they'd probably be done by parcels by then, so I probably can do another stream then, yeah. I mean, don't most European people, Joshua, have some German ancestry? Because, you know, Western Europe is basically sort of a rape baby, you know, clusterfuck of different empires, isn't it? Basically, Western Europe. Whatever people bring up, Jim, really. But yeah, the point is anyway with yeah, the annoying thing, Drunk Russian, is there was an AK-74 that was £300 on one of the sites recently for a DEAC one, and I really wanted to get it. So I asked the seller if they'd sell it, and they basically went like, oh no, it's out of stock. So what they were doing is that bullshit thing of, we've sold this one, but we're going to keep it listed on our site to get people to click on our site to look at more of our guns. It's like, yeah, fuck you then. It's like, yeah, I thought, yeah, deactivated AK-74 for £300 with like a folding stock. That's brilliant, no? Burner account, fair enough. I mean, technically it shouldn't scare people in supermarkets because they're meant to be wearing masks, aren't they? But yeah, I'm alright, thank you, Avatar. As I said, today's just been one of those annoying days where I was meant to wait in all day for a parcel. Then by midday, it's like, oh wait, your parcel's not coming today. So I was like, right, I could have gone out earlier today then and got some shopping done. And if I'd have known, you know, like earlier in the week it wasn't coming today but tomorrow, I would have not told people like what I was doing on Thursday. And then, you know, but yeah. Right, Stug? If you missed it, Stug, Parcel Force or Parcel Fast sent me an email to say, oh wait, your gun isn't coming today. We've cancelled it now. It's coming tomorrow instead, maybe. So yeah, that's annoying. That's good, Jim. If you're finally getting your vaccine, do you know which one you're getting yet? But yeah, so basically, with obsolete calibers in the UK, it's basically most pre-World War One bolt action rifles are considered obsolete calibers because they're kind of in not very efficient cartridges. Yeah, I watch Forgotten Weapons quite a lot. I don't watch all his videos, but I'll definitely watch all the ones on like a series of firearms I find interesting. So like I've been watching all the Bren ones recently, and there's that one, isn't there, recently where he was shooting Sterling that was quite interesting. That's definitely a scam, Avatar. Yeah, JJ, other than the fact that, what was it, Worldwide Arms finally dispatched my Steyr rifle the other day, and it was meant to be coming today on like guaranteed next day delivery, and then Parcel File said, oh wait, we're not going to deliver it today. See if we deliver it tomorrow. I don't know if tanks count as obsolete calibers, burner account, but you can have a tank with a live smoothbore barrel as long as you have a shotgun license. It's one of those weird things in the law. No, Flazzy, I've just been explaining that to people. Parcel Fast sent me an email halfway through the day saying, yeah, even though the seller put on guaranteed next day delivery, we're not delivering it today. So basically, they've scammed the seller out, I guess, of you know, a more expensive delivery option. So I'm gonna have to wait in all day for it tomorrow. Yeah, I think, JJ, it's just sometimes Parcel Force. Like, the thing that annoys me is Parcel Force in my area, sometimes they're really good or they're really crap. And I don't know if it's what driver it's on or, like, what route it's put on. But what annoys me is that you can't, in advance, tell Parcel Force, don't deliver my parcel or go and pick it up, because I live near their depot. And because I live so close to the depot, often I just want to actually, you know, drive down there and pick up a parcel rather than waiting in all day. But what really annoyed me one time, I had a parcel that was meant to be delivered. They didn't deliver it, and it said, you know, return to the depot on the tracking info. So I phoned up the depot and said, I've been in all day. You didn't try and deliver it. And they said, right, I can see where that is. If you want to come in, you know, you can pick it up, or if not, we'll put on delivery for tomorrow. I said, right, I'll drive down there now and pick it up before you close. Drove down there, and then they said, oh, wait, we've put on another van for redelivery. So the driver's just gone out to, you know, deliver it to your house. I was like, but you just told me to come down here. But thankfully, somebody was actually in my house. So they signed for it, but that really pissed me off that time. Yeah, as JJ just said, Super Swag, deactivated number 4 Lee Enfields are pretty much on every deactivated gun site because of how common they were over here. Not at the moment. I mean, there's videos I've already got of my Avatar. I've got the CT12 behind me, where I'm still not sure where the other eyepiece has gone for it. But the other masks I don't have in this room currently, and if they're not in this room, yeah, they're not up there. I can't really show them because I'd have to go out the room, go look for them. Ask me on a member stream when there's less people on, I can actually go and get stuff for people from other rooms. But there we go. There's that. That's quite cool stuff. I don't know exactly which chest rig that is, but if it's one you wanted and it's cheap, why not? Yeah, it's weird. Honest, don't ask me to explain UK gun laws, because basically a lot of the stuff with UK gun laws is lots of stuff used to be legal. Politicians, to try and get brownie points with anti-gun people, did the thing of let's make stuff illegal without understanding them. So basically, it went from in the 1980s, where I think with a very basic license you could basically have anything that was semi-automatic, to now lots of different categories for different things. I think it was 295, the one I went for, JJ, because it was one of the ones that wasn't like broken. It was grade 3, so it means it's rusty and the wood's a bit worn, but all the parts are there and not missing. If you say so, Avatar. Yes, it's completely legal to do that, but I wouldn't recommend you obviously go out in the streets cycling dummy rounds for a gun, because you'd probably get shot, and you deserve it if you did that. But yes, for example, inside my Schmidt Rubin, I've got these, which is dummy rounds one of my donators sent to me, so that's really nice of them. So yeah, it means I can cycle it with these. This is technically the dummy round for the later Schmidt Rubens, because it's like the 7x5 by 55, not the 7 by 5 by 53.5 or whatever it was the Schmidt Rubin shot, but they cycle fine in a Rubin, because obviously it's technically the same size cartridge in terms of the bolt. It's just this is higher pressure. German machine guns. Do you mean the MG34 and the MG42? They're the famous World War II ones. Any idea why, JJ? That's weird. Because saying these are the proper size ones for the later ones, like the K31s or whatever they're called, and they fit absolutely fine. So yeah, I don't quite get why. Because yeah, all of these I can cycle. Have you tried taking your mag off and like putting it back on with the mag screw and like checking it's all tight? Because I do know that with my Rubin, it took a couple of times of doing that to get the rounds to feed in cleanly, where it was a bit misaligned. I've got a 308 on the shelf, Fuzzy, so let's just check the size compared to a 308. I bet I can't find a 308 now. I'm looking for one. I think my 308 saying that, that's why I can't find them, are in my FOW magazine. So yeah. Right, I don't know what is JS Defense Forces? I don't know. The answer is probably not, because I don't know what JS stands for without looking it up. But I'm assuming DF is Defense Forces. Yeah, that's really weird, JJ. I don't know then. Unless, like, maybe some of them are slightly more swollen than other rounds. I don't know. Yeah, there's loads of things like that AK that are frustrating, aren't there, with like stuff like that, where you used to be able to get really... I mean, I know I'm not in the US, but I think there was apparently the same thing with, like, I think 303 ammo after the war, where, loads of people had number 4 Lee Enfields or other model Lee Enfields with surplus 303 ammo. There wasn't really much gun crime with it, and nobody hurt anybody, and then, the politicians changed the laws later, even though there weren't Lee Enfields used in mass shootings. Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing I can think of, JJ, unless they sent you some other rounds mistaken as the correct rounds. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, CM, because of the weird, like, Nazi fetishism around a lot of World War II German stuff. Oh, when you say... So was that Japanese Defense Forces, then, when you just said that, actually saying that? $100,000 for militaria. I'd see if I could get one of those bigger government bunkers that they decommissioned for that price, and then restore it, because $100,000 might just about get you kind of a local government, one for the important politicians. But yeah, because that's technically surplus, and it would be kind of cool having an underground, bigger bunker, because the ones. As far as I'm aware, Jonas, it's the 1899 model. So let me link you to a... I'm pretty sure it's not an 1889-96. Let me just check. I've not read too much into that, but I imagine mine's the original one. But it was just listed as an 1889. And again, with British obsolete caliber rules, you might have to be quite careful if sellers sell the updated ones. Because I know there's like weird shit with some of the guns, like where they can't sell later versions of the same gun that can handle higher pressures because of fears of people reloading them. Yeah, what we have in the UK, Rio FNito, is a combination of very small observation bunkers, and those are the ones I'm looking at buying because quite often, you know, they turn up really cheap if you can be bothered to restore them and like install electricity into them. Then you get like the regional government kind of bunkers, which are a bit bigger. So, you know, those have had multiple bedrooms in a toilet room, you know, like offices and like a briefing room type one. But they're normally all privately owned or destroyed now, as in, you know, all they're like below a government building, so you can't buy them. Then you get like the really big regional government ones that were like for like military groups and, you know, like portions of the country. So that's something like Calveden Hatch that I've been to. Yeah, I bought that Stug, BF4 and BF5 when they were all on sale, and I've probably enjoyed Battlefield 5 the most, even though it's not a very good representation of World War II history. You know, like a Norwegian teenage girl destroying all of the Nazi stuff in Norway. You know, it's not like that was Norwegian commandos doing that. Yeah, JJ, that's what I was saying. That's what I was thinking, because an updated one would basically break the rule on why they can sell them. I've not played Armour recently, but I have played Armour 2 and 3. Well, the problem is, AG, that with stuff like the rarer bunkers, you're literally going to have the money sitting in an account for ages and just snap one up when they rarely go on sale. All right, I would give them for gas masks, OK9, Chinese pewter gas masks. Then the mask is completely not working. For NBC suits, although they're not the worst ones, I give them those really crinkly, you know, ones that sound like rustling crisp packets, the Tai Chem ones, or whatever it is. And for PAPRs, I don't know. Maybe the Israeli children's ones that click correctly directly onto the masks. I mean, it's probably just being used for storage, I'd assume, if they buy an old bunker for the most part. No, I've not played Metro Exodus. I've played 2033 and Last Light, but I never got round to getting Exodus. No, it's not. So basically, oh, sorry. If you're asking, is ABEC 2 the same as A2, B2, E2, K2? Yes, as long as it's not a dodgy person doing like ABE1, K2. But in theory, if they don't put any letters on any of them until the end and it says ABEC 2, that is the same as A2, B2, E2, K2, yes. So a lot of them will say something like ABEC 2, P3, or ABE2, K1, P3, that sort of thing, if that makes sense. But yeah, the problem is with that is some places are a bit dodgy how they name the filter to try and, like, you know, false advertising, I guess. Yeah, Hearts of Iron 3 is probably my favourite one still. I never really got into Hearts of Iron 4. In the UK, Spitfire, no, they never made bunkers for the civilians. Civilians die, is the government policy, because it costs too much money to look after them. The governments in the UK were for the military, and not all the military, for basically sort of observers of different types, and, you know, the government who would keep themselves safe in the bunkers. That's saying if there were more bunkers, you could buy them cheaper in theory. But no. All right, and Volto. I'm pretty sure, Jim, you'll get a lot of cookies if you use the internet because they always infest your PC, don't they? But the only thing you have to bear in mind, Drunk Russian, is lots of people here in all around different places in the world. So lots of surplus sites, if they're like US ones, aren't going to be applicable for anybody outside the US or whatever. My favourite war movie is probably still Where Eagles Dare. The States, JJ, they were sent to me, as I was saying earlier, by a donator. And I think he basically asked in his local gun store if they did inert, like, snap caps dummy rounds, and then they had to send off to get the Swiss ones so he could post them to me. So by the sound of it, he had a lot of issue getting them, but his like local gun shop were handy enough that he was able to order some. But apparently, weirdly, like 7x5x55 Swiss isn't even that common around in the US anymore, which seems weird, considering how many surplus Swiss rifles there are of like the various sort of years, and the fact that was the same cartridge they kept in use, wasn't it, for like their later battle rifles? But I suppose it might be because some of the Swiss export rifles were recalibrated for different things. Jonas, the problem is it's very difficult to find the full government current up-to-date obsolete caliber list, so I can't really be bothered to do it on the stream. But you can somewhere, I think I've got one bookmarked that's a fairly recent one, get like an incredibly long list you can control F on, but you have to look them up by cartridge, not by gun. And then basically you have to understand that some of the cartridges, although they might be legal, they might not want any of the guns to be legal. So for example, 8mm Mauser is now being put on the obsolete caliber list. And while I imagine a K98 might now be classed as an obsolete caliber rifle, they're certainly not going to let you own a working MG42 on the obsolete caliber. Do you kind of see what I mean by that, if that makes sense? Now, a flamethrower would not be good for mice in your attic, nor your attic. Saving Private Ryan's a good movie, but yeah, like I said, I don't think it's the best World War II movie. But it's definitely worth a watch. What pissed me off, though, I think I said about this recently. Now it's East German camo just Vin. It's Stricktan, or however they pronounce it, Stricktan. But yeah, there was this fucking video, right, of these like probably 13, 14-year-old like teenagers doing like fucking reaction videos. Obviously, I didn't watch the original video because, for obvious reasons, I don't try and look up videos of teenagers. But I saw another channel reacting to it that I'm subscribed to with, I think, over 1 million subscribers now, and it was like the video that made him really pissed off. So I was like, okay, I'll watch what it is. And it was basically, they were going like, oh, what? Did people really die like fighting in Europe in World War II? I didn't even think World War II was a thing. It's like, apparently that's how dumb lots of kids are now. They didn't even know World War II was a thing. They didn't know the fucking D-Day and the Normandy landings were a thing. They also probably don't know like the Battle of Stalingrad and like Kursk were a thing, Do you know what I mean? It's like, wow, fucking kids today don't know anything about like the most important bits of 20th century history. Like I said, super sorry, I don't want to sound like I'm being a dick to anybody that's like younger and doesn't know history. Or like you're saying, I'm sure a lot of younger people do know history, but it's just the fact that this is obviously like some super popular, like stupid teen reaction thing, and they're like, wait, World War II was the thing. Yeah, well, Flazzy, have you seen the ones where people are saying he's literally Hitler, and then they get shown a picture of Hitler and they don't know who it is? So they know the name Hitler, but they don't know anything about Hitler. How about those influencers? Fuck off. That's my answer. Isna, I have my name's pronounced. But yes. Oh, I'm sorry. History isn't always a nice thing, but that's why you need to learn it so you don't repeat the mistakes from the past. The name sounds very familiar. Okay, now, is that the one about the ones to do with like the stolen paintings? If so, I've not seen the film, but I've read a lot of the books, as in like the non-fiction like accounts of people involved in finding the stolen artworks. The most interesting one I read though was the one where they found a load of stolen art while they were looking for stockpiles of German chemical weapons. What do you do in GCSE history at the moment, Shmew? When I did GCSE history, 1 year of it was on medical history. What was the other year on? Or maybe all of it was medical. No, I think all of GCSE history I did was medical history because it was A level that was half of it was like British politics in the 1800s, which was fucking boring, and the 1700s was fucking boring, and the other half was on Stalin, and Stalin's interesting because death solves all problems. No man, no problem. Uh, I can't remember if we did. See, that's the thing. Nazi Germany sounds like something we might have done in history, but I can't remember doing any bit of like exam papers on it. Maybe did. Maybe my brain's just dying. I can definitely remember doing Nazi Germany in history, but I can't remember if it was GCSE or like year 9. JJ, does your dad actually at least realise that like Chairman Mao was an evil bastard and a complete cunt? Because as long as he knows that, then he's obviously a good bloke. But what amazes me is there's still people today that unironically think Chairman Mao was like a brilliant bloke. I mean, I would if you're thinking about doing GCSEs, but like I said, I don't know what they teach in it now because remember, I'm a bit too old to have been through school recently. Right, good, yeah. I mean, yes, Mao was a cunt. There we go. But yes, like I'm saying, JJ, that's the thing. It's like I have nothing against Chinese people, but I do certainly have a problem with Chinese communists that murdered, however God many knows millions it was. We actually had one of my teachers had a picture of Mao on his wall, and he asked people like, "Oh, do you know who that was?" And I guess he was a fucking like commie lover. But this is back before I knew just how evil Mao was. But I just still knew who Mao was, and I said, "Oh, that's Chairman Mao," like the commie Chinese guy. He's like, "Oh yeah, and do you know much about him?" He's like, "He killed a lot of people," and he's like, "Yes, but he's also a very good leader." Like, no, like if you consider Great Leap Forwarding your entire population a good leader, then no. Like yes, he industrialized China, but you can industrialize a country without murdering nearly all of it. I mean, I don't honestly think the police will round you up for potato peelers. I mean, I know there's those stupid images they put out at one point, like, oh, we're doing a community weapons sweep, like we found an umbrella, like all that shit. But in reality, you're never going to get arrested, for having a butter knife on you or whatever else. Yeah, didn't he also have syphilis by the end, caveman, and had like an haram or harem, however it's pronounced, of like virgin women that he could fuck because he thought it'd like make him immortal or whatever. If you've got a UK ARA type thing, you won't get in trouble as far as I'm aware. If it's a bright coloured one and you don't, then it could be considered like making an imitation weapon. But again, I'm really not clued up on the laws on that because the whole UK Violent Crime Reduction Act thing is a clusterfuck of like stupid rules. I assume nothing did go down when you brought in your PDRM82. Which model do you have though, Ash? Because if you have that one, you're only going to find out if something's going down if literally everybody is going to instantly die from radiation. If you had the PDRM82D, on the other hand, that would tell you if something minor's going on. We were just talking about Chairman Mao for the most part, Tyre. We were talking about Stalin and Mao. It is, but it's not an actual East German issue one. It's just where there's a company that does loads and loads of like T-shirts in old camo patterns. So I bought one in Stricktown. Well, firstly, you'd need to get searched for it because obviously the police won't home in on you and know you've got a knife on you. But yeah, you're not meant to be carrying a knife on you without a reason unless it's something like a Swiss Army knife. But say you're out in the woods and you've got a bushcraft knife on you or anything like that, that's perfectly justifiable because, you know, you might want to whittle some wood or, you know, chop some bits down, you know, or whatever. Apparently we've sent warships or some sort of ships, Boris, tonight to the Channel because the French are threatening to cut power from Jersey or something. Yeah, he's the one that's in The Death of Stalin, isn't he? That gets the hockey team killed and then is pretending he didn't. But yeah, what made me laugh, though, was when I was listening to LBC before I came on. The Tory MP, I don't know if they're even a good MP or not, but they did say something I thought was funny. They said that I think they're on about like French, you know, politicians posturing by doing this. And they said, I'm trying to remember now because it was like over an hour ago I heard what they said, but they said something like something about you know, if politicians were pandering to sensible people, they wouldn't do this. But again, they were doing it to the French. It was something like that. They said, you know, hence French people are dumb. But, you know, it just made me laugh. Right. It really depends where you live. Because obviously, if you live in some inner city area that's rife with drug sort of crime and stabbings, then the police probably will stop and search people a lot. The thing is, if you're in a nice area of the UK, the police rarely are around stopping and searching people. When I see the police, it's basically handing out speeding fines. You know, I very rarely see a foot patrol in my area. The last time I saw the police regularly was when I used to work in the city, and you'd get armed police there because of like terrorism risks. I was saying the last time I actually saw the police was when they stopped me at Sellafield asking me what I was doing with all my Geiger counters. An Israeli M15, that's an amazing price if you got an Israeli M15 for £10, or do you mean something else? I think a lot of us did on here, Fluzzy. But I think when most of us voted for it, we wanted it just to be done and over quickly, not drag on for ages and all this and all that going on. I think most of us just wanted it to basically be like, all right, let's pay you a divorce fee and then we're off, bye. And then, you know, it turned into a fucking shit show, didn't it? Because there was all the people for years going, no, even though the people voted for that, they didn't mean to vote for that. I mean, eBay shouldn't be cutting up your GP5. I don't know why. But I mean, I still find that one funny where Nige was on the thing. Like, wasn't it like a day or two after Britain voted to leave, and he said, "Isn't it funny?" And they were all like skulking in the EU Parliament, weren't they? And again, like, if people don't know, I have nothing against fellow European countries. You know, I've visited a lot of them. I find a lot of European history very interesting. I just don't like the idea of a big European super bloc. I don't like the idea of a big British government either. I'm quite libertarian when it comes to, like, you know, small government not enforcing a lot of rules. I mean, the IRA might have done, I don't know. But the only thing that was on about, I heard about the IRA the other day was that some soldiers got that trial thrown out for shooting dead an IRA, like, commander. So it's like, oh, okay, so they did nothing wrong then. So you're in a war scenario, you shoot an enemy combatant. Oh, like 70 years on, you're getting in trouble. 50 years on, or whatever, you're getting in trouble for doing it. But I don't really want this to turn into a politics stream. What's a global program where they look for drugs? Oh, what? Cutting open stuff. Could I shoot it with a crossbow? Yes. Am I going to shoot it with a crossbow? No. Or do you mean, could I wear a crossbow? Wear a crossbow. Could I wear the GP7 and then aim down a crossbow? The answer to that is yes. You could do that. But I don't see the point in just shooting masks that are perfectly good, other than the fact they're not very well designed. No, the particular thing, Drunk Russian, wasn't linked to Bloody Sunday, because again, Bloody Sunday was a proper thing that needed investigating. You know, the thing they're on about was some IRA commander was fleeing from the police or something. Some British soldiers shot him dead while he was fleeing from the police, and then they were like, "Oh, we need to prosecute those soldiers because he was a good boy," you know, that sort of thing. I've only gone across the Channel Tunnel type thing. I've not done across Europe via train. I mean, I've been on trains while I've been in European countries, but I've not done, like, you know, a rail thing all across Europe. So when you say M15, again, do you mean the Israeli M15? If so, it's a good mask. I've done quite a lot of videos on it. But basically, to explain this to people who don't know about it, imagine in 50 years' time or something, the commandos that shot bin Laden dead get put on trial for shooting poor dead bin Laden. Does that make sense? Imagine if that was, I mean, but you can imagine in a political correct future that would happen, wouldn't it? I've not really looked at any North Korean gas masks, so I've not seen that. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it, JJ? Again, we're a European country, we're just an island, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, judging by a lot of the things going on, like, Flazzy, did you see the thing that one of the things they're now appealing when they do that Chauvin guy, whatever his name's, mistrial, you know, like trial appeal, they're like, well, they're trying to get it done for a mistrial, is that one of the guys who was a juror was pro, like, Black Lives Matter and had, like, Black Lives Matter t-shirts on before, like, being involved in the trial, and then said, like, oh, the only way you get justice is to, like, you know, vote with your conscience on a jury or something. It's like, oh, so basically he was a politically motivated juror, which is a no-no. And again, like, for the people who don't know, I have no sympathy for the guy that, you know, was kneeling on George Floyd, but that whole trial was a shit show. I'll have a look at some point, Pedro. It's just, you know, there's a lot of things for me to do. Yeah, and they were doxed by the press, weren't they? Yeah, this whole thing's a shit show, I said. Well, basically, they have to appeal for either a new trial or just to get the trial thrown out. And if the justice system is fair, that will happen. But I don't know how far, like, political pandering goes through the justice system, especially in the US. Right, what's my opinion on Black Lives Matter? Do black people's lives matter? Absolutely. What do I think of BLM as a movement? It's a Marxist shit show organization, basically. So, you know, that's my opinion. Basically, like if you've not seen my opinion, like, all the time, basically, with a lot of this stuff, is if you're black, white, whatever, you should be treated equally by the law and have the same opportunities as everybody else. You know, you shouldn't get preferential treatment or be treated worse by things. Yeah, Flazzy, I know there's a lot more to it. I won't go into it in this stream, obviously, because I don't want this stream to turn into people arguing and, you know, the stream to turn into a shit show. But my point is, from what I can understand, is the whole trial became a nightmare because jurors were being threatened. Some of the jurors were, like, already had their opinion on how they were going to vote. I've watched a couple of his videos, James, but I think I got turned off his videos at one point because he was laughing about some kids that got killed in a terrorist attack. Like, maybe he was doing it ironically. I just thought that was in really bad taste. Probably not very many, Zach. Unless they ever decide to sell them as an export product in the exchange for grain. Speaking about communism, for the people who haven't seen them yet, where are they on my desk? They were right here a minute ago. Have they fallen under something? Hang on one moment. These should be really visible and I can't find them now. I was going to bring up my communist money and I can't find it. Where's my commie money gone? This is annoying. I've got a chunk of commie wall here, but that wasn't the bit I was looking for. I was looking for my commie notes. Because, I'm technically a multi-billionaire, right? I've got the notes to prove it. I can't fucking find them now. That's annoying. Right. Maybe they've been redistributed, or maybe they've fallen behind my monitor. That's what's happened. Because basically my monitor doesn't sit flat on the table. It's on a stand, so sometimes stuff falls behind it and then you can't see it. Hang on. And I can reach it. There we go. There we go. I mean, don't communists believe there shouldn't be money? I already explained that earlier in the thing, Eric Going Dark. The worst gas mask I know of is the pewter one. It's this just awful Chinesian mask. Right, so $1 billion. $5 billion. $10 billion. $20 billion. All right, see ya, James. $50 billion. Maybe if I see one for a good price at some point, I'll buy the is it $10 trillion one? They did, or was it $100 trillion they went up to eventually? Well, what period is it from, A Mori Samurai? Because bear in mind, I think they've completely abandoned these notes now, haven't they? Did somebody say the other day they're actually just using US dollars now, which would make sense? Right, the Chinese coffee can filter, the yellow one that I bought, the E3 filter or whatever it was, E3P1 filter, that was on AliExpress at one point when they had a load in, or it might have been eBay from a Chinese seller on eBay. Well, as in, America's going to break apart, do you mean? When you say Roman Empire treatment, or do you mean that Biden's going to get Caesared? Oh, if it was printed in 1994, I don't think it's worth anything now, Mori Samurai. It's probably worth more as a collector's thing like these are. I put them in the wrong order. I put the 21 first. What am I doing? I get funny about stuff like that. Right. Yeah, put them in the right order then. There we go. There we go. So anyway, so whoever asked me what do I think about the G3, I've never shot a G3 or handled one, but I mean, I like it aesthetically. I mean, technically it's just the SETME, isn't it, the G3? The SETME 7.62 rifle, because, you know, it was made in Spain. The Germans just essentially bought the rights to it. But yeah, it looks cool. I mean, I like the FN FAL, and I've got an L1A1 that's deactivated. But, you know, like I said, if you're in America and you can actually buy those and shoot those, that's really cool. But is that worth anything, Stug? Because, I mean, I find old money kind of interesting, but I find hyperinflation money more interesting just because it proves that, you know, fiat currency is worthless. But that doesn't stop power armor that the fact that communism's awful, does it? Because it's kind of like saying, oh, my system's really shit, and every time we try it, it never works, but therefore it does, you know, it's never been tried. It's that kind of like circular logic. It would kind of be like somebody saying, oh, I'm a National Socialist, but Nazism's never been tried because Hitler wasn't a real Nazi. You can own real guns here, you can't own things like a G3. Well, you could actually if it had been converted to be bolt, like, you know, you'd have to charge it every time only, but who would want that? I mean, what about Belarus during the communist period or Belarus now? Because they're having a lot of protests in Belarus now, aren't they? due to what's it, like electoral fraud or whatever, and like people don't think the guy who's been in power for ages legitimately won, which he might not have done. But you know, I try not to get too political on these streams. It's just sometimes when we start, you know, talking about communist dictators or whatever, sadly, it's quite hard to say it's quite hard to move to the US. Isn't Biden now doing the thing where he's like trying to do like adopting a lot of Trump's policies, but pretending he's not, apparently, because they were actually a lot better than his policies that he ran on during the elections? Like, oh, I love all immigrants, come to America. Oh, wait, I don't want immigrants now because I'm in power. All right, see you, Stug. Favorite tank from the Cold War? Maybe the T-72. I like the fact they did a lot of T-72 variants, including like the super easy to manufacture one after a nuclear war. Burner account, are you being funny? You do know in Romania, Ceausescu had a lot of people just shot, and then he was shot because people didn't like him. I mean, I can understand people saying, oh, communism is interesting because I didn't live in the country and I looked at it in the history books, but people generally didn't enjoy living in them. I mean, you can find loads and loads and loads of examples of people that have lived in communist countries, then arguing with college kids who say communism is great because they're like, I lived through that shit, it was horrible. Like, maybe there was something good things about communism. Like, you know, everybody had at least an apartment to live in. But when it comes to, like, food and, like, authoritarian governments, communism isn't fun. But don't get me wrong. I'm not saying our government's good we've got here at the moment either. I think they're crap as well. It's just I don't think they're genocidally crap. Yeah, I don't get that. Why would you buy a license to make NATO gas? I suppose because the Soviets wanted you to buy a license to make their masks as well. Well, personally, Pedro, I'd be very careful buying stuff on AliExpress because a lot of it doesn't meet any safety standards whatsoever. I mean, yeah, Bitcoin, if you bought Bitcoin ages ago, they've inflated a lot in price now, so you could sell those for more. I mean, I like the East German anthem, Chris. The East German anthem's good. I mean, it's catchy. I mean, the Soviet anthem's catchy as well, but I mean, they still use that in Russia as the words change, don't they? Well, I mean, here's the thing. Communism, socialism, they're all basically words. And again, the problem is people say, oh, this isn't true communism, this isn't true socialism. So the thing is, I don't think all forms of socialism are bad because, you know, poor people, I mean, in theory, you should have a system where people aren't poor in the first place. But, well, isn't there a Putin quote about that, JJ? Something like, whoever doesn't miss the USSR has no heart. Whoever wants it back has no brain, which might be a good way of looking at it. Because so yes, I knew they'd replaced it, but I didn't know if it was like probably US dollars. But yeah, I'm saying we were talking about it because of these. Like I said, I bought one after the stream where everybody was talking about them just because it was interesting. 1984 is a brilliant book just because it's still really relevant. Like, I like George Orwell because George Orwell was like a socialist, but he didn't think like communism was a wonderful thing, you know, because if I remember right, didn't Orwell fight in the Spanish Civil War and then realized just how like fucked the Spanish Republicans were from like all the infighting between themselves because, oh, we're the true communist, no, I am the true communist, no, I am anarchist communist, you know, all that sort of thing. Yeah. JD, I agree with that. Socialism is good when it's in a democratic system and it's held to account. I've got loads of Kevlar helmets, Max. Maybe watch the videos on them. I don't know about the Russian ones very often, but I know there's the old Yugoslavian like 7.62 NATO rifles, which look like an AK, which are weird things. Well, yeah, this is the problem, Gabriel, is if we go off like what it was meant to be, maybe it is a good idea, but you're never going to get it in practice is the problem. Well, that's what I'm saying, burner account, is that if you think as an idea on paper, then maybe it is fine. But the thing is, every time it's tried, generally lots of people suffer and lots of people die. So I'd say let's not try it again. Well, 1984 is a book, Jude. I think you're meant to read it. I mean, yes, watch the films based on 1984, but they're no substitute for the book, because the book goes into a lot more detail about how INSOC functions. Well, yes, that's the thing, Nasty Butler, because when you're doing that, you're mixing different ideologies together and you're not going too extremist in one sense. But generally, when you go like full on any ideology, you're kind of, things go horribly wrong. Anyway, I've been on about an hour now, and it's getting a bit too political now, because I really don't want to start arguing about like prime ministers of various countries and reformations and did they do more harm than good. As much as it's an interesting subject, it's not something I really want to talk about on the stream, because it just alienates a lot of people. Gabriel, before I go, don't they claim they're not communists now? Don't they have like some sort of far more Nazi style ideology about like the purity of the North Korean race or something? Like, I'm not making this up. There's a word for it, isn't it? I actually had somebody unironically say like, oh, you're wrong saying communism's crap because North Korea doesn't use it anymore. It's like, well, that's not really an argument, saying they had a shit system and then they went to a shitter system and pretended it wasn't the same thing. Yes, it is a Nixie tube clock. I'll hold it up if the cable's not caught on something, which I think it is. Yeah, the cable's caught on stuff, I'm not holding it up. But, yeah, that's it. Nationalistic Juche, or how it's pronounced, I don't know. But the funny thing is why is it with authoritarian dictatorships they always have to put the word people or democratic in the title? Is it so they can just pretend they are? You know, like, the People's Republic of China, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, or whatever it is, the Democratic German Republic. They love those words, don't they? You see this, comrade? We are democratic. Look, it says it in the title of country. Oh, I've not actually seen them for that cheap litter picker. I definitely pick one up if I spot them for that price. A lot of the ones I saw were like £30 to £100, depending on condition. But yeah, it might have just been that like any of the sellers that were selling them at a good price had sold out at the time I was searching. People's Liberation Army. Is that China PLA? Probably is. But yeah, but let's say in lots of communist countries like doing that. Just because of the thing of well, the thing is, from what I can gather from what some people say in the chat, and I won't go into it because like I said, I'm finishing the stream, is the whole thing of there was a bad leader in my country, then there was a coup and it got worse or it got better, and then it got worse again or got better again. Sadly, that's what happens with a lot of countries. I'll finish with the joke. What does the Soviet optimist say? Things couldn't possibly get any worse. There we go. Goodbye. Have a good evening. I'll be on tomorrow to do a members stream at 8 p.m. because Brighton asked me could I do that if I get a chance to. Right, let me find the end stream button because it moves now and again. Right, bye.